Welcome, my name is Colleen Tauke and I'm the sewing specialist with Fons and Porter. In this quilting tutorial, we'll show you how to make the quilt called First Steps. As you can see, the quilt behind me is full of brights, a lot of fun to create, and it's actually kind of just one big block. If you want the pattern for this, you can visit our website and it'll give you all the specifics on all the length cuts and the amounts of everything, but we're going to be using 2.5-inch strips. So we've got a pack of wonderful 2.5-inch strips here that we're going to be cutting up, and we're going to use a wonderful striped binding to finish off the quilt. So what we're going to do is take each of these strips, and the instructions will have you instruct you to cut each of them in half. So we simply take a scissors and cut on the fold to create half-length strips like this. You'll find out why in a minute, because we don't want to have long strips of color as we go around the center. We want the colors to change quickly and have a little more fun. And then from some of those strips, it will instruct you to cut 27 2.5-inch squares. So I've got a variety of them here already. So we're going to be using some of the pieces as lengths, some as squares. Okay. What we do then is go through that stack of 27 that you've created, and we're going to make rows. So we're going to put 3 together in short rows like this and create the center piece. So we would simply join these with a 1/4-inch seam each here, then join the rows together here with a 1/4-inch seam. And I'll show you a piece that I've already got laid out here. We'll move this out of the way. So here I've created the center part of this quilt. You can see on the back, pressing is important, so press as you go. I've got seam allowances going one direction here and back, so that I've got opposing seams all the way. When I join these together, they will just lock right together, and then when you turn it over, you can see that our points are very good. Our corners come together nice and neat. So we've got 3 by 7, no, let's see, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 3 by 7, so 21 squares in the center here. So that is the beginning base of our quilt. Now in the instructions, then it will have you take a couple of your strips and cut 2 pieces that are 10.5-inch long, and some pieces that are 18.5-inch long. And you can see the long pieces go on first. So if we look at the quilt, here's our center. Let's see, this one has, oh, we need to add 2 more to the length I've got there. So it is 3 by 9. I was thinking that what it was. Okay, then we're going to add bars to each side and a bar to the top and the bottom. So what we would do then is go in, here's my pieces. So we should probably put these together so that our center is the correct size. The fun part about this is that you get to mix and match all the colors and the prints. You may even want to make sure that you don't put 2 of the same print side by side, but you get to have a little fun creating that center base. This would also be a wonderful design made into a little boy quilt. I could see bright baseball colors. It could be red, white, and blues. It could be 30s reproductions. This pattern will lend itself to just about any style of fabric. It could even become a lap quilt done in florals for someone who's not able to get out, maybe in a nursing home or confined to a wheelchair. So it'd be a perfect size for a lap quilt also. So now we're going to finish out this center section. We will make sure that our seams are going in opposite directions. Here you can see how I'm going to join those together. Good way also to practice your 1/4-inch seaming. If you're new to quilting, that 1/4-inch seam is going to be important to be consistent and even. So it's not a lot of very difficult piecing in the center, but a chance for you to really get your 1/4-inch seam down to being really accurate. Also remember to press as you go. So we'll bring it over to the ironing surface here, and make sure you always set your seams. Get the threads warm first. Things press more neatly and tidy when they're warm. You can even come in with your fingernail and just kind of open it up. Make sure it's all the way to the stitching line, and then press it nice and flat. It does help when you're actually quilting your project in the end, that it stays nice and flat, and that it won't have large, thick intersections and hard. The back of it's nice and neat. You'll have more fun when it comes to the quilting part of it all. Okay, now we've got the center. I'll go in and press that. I'm just going to do it with my finger for now. You see how nice and neat that turns out, all the intersection. And now, when you have those 18.5-inch pieces, they will fit just perfectly side to side. They have you cut the first couple as just one continuous piece, just so that your eye has a place to rest. So you would join those, and then when seam allowances are taken in, the top and the bottom will fit in place. This. So then that has one continuous on each side. Now what you've gone and they're going to have you do is take those half lengths and seam them together into one long continuous piece. Now that's easy piecing. So you're going to create this long piece, and then in your instructions it does give you a cutting chart, and it will tell you how many of each length to cut to create the Courthouse Steps design, which is laid out in the next page of your instructions. So at this point, some people would say, well, I just want to go in and I want to just take it, the long piece, and just sew it on and cut it off. And I'll go to the other side and sew it on and cut it off. But you're apt to stretch things when you do it that way, because we can get a little distortion at one place, 1/8 of an inch here and 1/8 of an inch there. If it starts to add up, it can become 1/2 of an inch. And one side of your quilt could be 1/2 an inch longer than another. So in order to keep it square, follow the cutting instructions for each of the bars, orient them correctly, and work your way side to side, top to bottom, all the way out on your quilt. The other thing it does talk about, and it gives you a notation, that if when you're cutting a length, it is going to be right at the edge of a seam, it tells you to go ahead and cut that, use it either in a shorter spot or go ahead and cut that off and go and cut another piece. There's enough built-in extra into your pattern and into the yardage of pre-cuts so that you have enough to complete the quilt. You wouldn't want just to have two tiny little seams next to each other as you get to the end of a length. So in order to create first steps, have some fun with some pre-cuts and enjoy the process. For more of our video tutorials, visit our website. Thanks for joining me today.